This is Jarrod Horak, and welcome to my latest handicapping video. And in this video, I'm going to analyze the Pegasus Stakes at Monmouth Park for Saturday, June 17th. This is for 3-year-olds, and it is a local prep race for the Haskell Stakes and that big Grade 1 Haskell that will be at Monmouth Park on July 22nd. And you're going to see some of the big Triple Crown Series runners target that race, and we'll get a better idea of which horses are running in that race later this year. But you're going to see some horses from this race, possibly that do well, end up running in that Haskell Stakes later this summer. Now, if you're interested in reading my Belmont Stakes recap, and I also just did a Belmont Stakes video as well, recapping that race. But I did my written recap at todaysracingdigest.com on their Belmont Stakes page. And then I also did a Horses to Watch article, horses that ran in the Triple Crown Series and to watch later this summer. And you can read both of those articles at todaysracingdigest.com. And I'll provide in the description in this video links to those articles. And then if you're interested in bonus free selections at horseracing.nation.com, my daily best bets blog. And then over at therunawayrhorse.com, I do some stakes free picks as well. And again, in the description in this video, I'll provide links to all of those websites. Now let's get into the analysis of this Pegasus Stakes. And it will be the 10th race at Monmouth Park. And as I said, it was Saturday, June 17th. The $150,000 Pegasus Stakes for 3-year-olds, a mile and a 16th on the main track. Scheduled post time, 4:44 p.m. Eastern Time. One of 2 Todd Pletcher trainees in this race is number 1, Classic Catch, and he's 3-1 morning line. This one is a son of Classic Empire, and he's 2 for 6 lifetime. His 2 wins were both at a mile and an 1/8 around 2 turns. At Aqueduct in his maiden win last fall, and then at Gulfstream Park, an optional claiming race in March of this year. Now, his start after that was the Grade 2 Moreau, but he was out in post 10 in a 12-horse field. He was racing wide. He ended up finishing 5th, beating 5 lengths. Not a bad effort considering he broke from post 10. He was back in 11th place. He was double digits behind, and then he ended up finishing 5th, beating a little more than 5 lengths. He was losing Lasix that day, and then last time they put blinkers on in the Peter Pan Stakes, and unfortunately for him, the pace was very slow. He was stalking wide, and Arcangelo, your Belmont Stakes winner in his next start, won that one by a head over Bishop's Bay, and those 2 were well clear of the rest of the field. So they ran big races. Bishop's Bay almost won, and Arcangelo just ran him down. And then Arcangelo proved that that race was live when he came back and he won the Belmont Stakes in his next start. Now Classic Catch is going to break from the inside post. He gets leading Monmouth Park rider Paco Lopez aboard, and he'll probably save ground stalking the pace. Moreau is number 2. This one is a son of Speightstown, and he's 8-1 morning line. He's only run twice. He was 4th in his career debut at 6.5 furlongs at Keeneland in the spring, 4th of 12 that day. And then in his second career start, they stretched him out to a 1-turn mile. And in that race, he was sitting 6th in a 10-horse field, but he was never further than a couple lengths behind. And he was able to secure the lead in the stretch and kick away and win by more than 2 lengths. So that was a nice forward move second time out. And now we're going to have to see where he fits against winners. In the next horse is number 3, No Confession, and he's 30-1 morning line. This one's run 11 times, and he's fairly consistent. He has 3 wins, 2 seconds, and a third, but he is 0 for 5 at Monmouth Park and 0 for 1 at this distance. He ran in the Long Branch Stakes. Now that race was the first local prep for the Travers. So you had the Long Branch, and then you have this race, and then you're going to have the Haskell as the final big 3-year-old race at Monmouth. But no, in the Long Branch stage, No Confession did duel on the lead, and then he finished 6th and last, beating 16 lengths. So you got to think in his second start after a layoff that he's probably going to impact the pace again, but I can't see him being around at the finish. Number 4, Salute to Stars for trainer Brad Cox. This one is 9-2 morning line, and Joel Rosario is going to ride, and he's run well in all of his starts. It's just a question of how good it really is he, because we just don't know yet. In his career debut, Ellis Park last summer in a turf route, he rallied from 14 lengths back to finish 2nd, beating a length and a half. In his second career start, much better tactical speed. He sat in 3rd, he took the lead, and he kicked away, and he broke his maiden by 3 lengths. Now, John Ortiz was his trainer then, and now Brad Cox is his trainer this year. And he was off from August of 2022 to May 14th of 2023 in a race originally scheduled for the turf and run on the main track at Churchill Downs over a route of ground. And he was up on the pace, and then he lost the lead, and he regained the lead, and then he was able to win by a neck. Earned a decent speed rating, but I'm not sure about the strength of that field. It wasn't off the turf race, and he was a turf horse last year. Brad Cox wanted to run him on turf last time, and now maybe he's thinking, okay, I saw that he could handle the main track, and let's throw him into a stakes race and see where he fits. And if he does well, great. If not, back to the turf course. And he did have Lasix last time, and he was the favorite in his last 2 wins. Alternate Realities number 5. Jackie Davis is going to ride this one for trainer Chris Engelhart. 5 starts, 2 wins, and a second place finish, and back-to-back victories. Broke the maiden at Aqueduct at 7 furlongs in the spring in April, and he was sitting back in 5th, and he kicked away nicely. Last time, a 1-turn mile at Belmont Park, and he was sitting back in last place, and he was able to get up by a head. Now, he's one that's going to need pace help, and he's going to need to run faster. He definitely ran faster in his last 2 starts as opposed to his first 3 starts. So he's improving. We're just got to see where he fits and if he really is a stakes horse. Subrogate is next. This one is the son of Arrogate, and this one has really done nothing wrong in 2 starts. He started in a 1-turn mile at Aqueduct. That was in April, and he was pressing from second. He dropped back to 4th. He regained second, and he was able to hold second that day, chasing outside. And in his second start, they turned him back from a 1-turn mile to a 6.5 furlong maiden special weight event at Belmont. And he got out there and he wired the field. He controlled the pace. He was the favorite, and he won by a length. So now he's going to stretch out around 2 turns for the first time, and he should impact the pace in here. Number 7, Howgreatisnate. This one, he won that Long Branch Stakes last time out, and he's 5 for 7 lifetime. He's won some stakes races. He won the Future Star Stakes at Parks late last year. He was in the Gotham Stakes, but he stumbled and lost his rider that day. Then in the Private Term Stakes, he ended up finishing 4th in an 8-horse field. He was up on the pace early, and then he bounced back last time with that head victory in the Long Branch Stakes. I think this is a better field. The runner-up did win his next start out of that Long Branch, but he's facing better horses here. He's going to have to run a little bit faster to compete for a major award. Finally, your morning line favorite in here is number 8, Kingsbarns for trainer Todd Pletcher. This one is a son of Uncle Moe, and he was an unraced 2-year-old, and he began his career on January 14th in a 1-turn mile at Gulfstream Park. He was in 4th. He was sitting up close in an 11-horse field. He stalked. He pounced. He won by a bit less than 2 lengths. He was the favorite, and he had Lasix that day, and he had Lasix in his second career start, mile and 40 yards at Tampa Bay Downs. Optional Claiming Company sat in 3rd, took over, and he won by almost 8 lengths. So that was a big effort. He was much the best. He was 1-2 in that race. Then he lost Lasix for the Louisiana Derby, mile and 3/16, that Kentucky Derby points race, a 12-horse field. No pace signed on there, and Kingsbarns and Flavien Prat was aboard, and he just decided, I'm going to go to the lead. There's no speed in here. Why don't I just go out, try to control things on the front end? And that's exactly what he did. He was able to get out and control the pace, open up a clear lead, and he was never really threatened. It was a very easy 3.5 length victory, but it was definitely a slow early, fast late event. Then the Kentucky Derby came around, and different pace scenario, and he ran a different kind of race too. Flavien Prat was able to get him to relax nicely in that Louisiana Derby. I mentioned his good tactical trips in his first 2 starts. Kentucky Derby, the pace was electric that day, and he was dueling on the lead. Jose Ortiz was his rider that day. He just got caught up in a pace duel with Verifying, so they just cooked each other on the front end. He finished nowhere. He was 14th. Now, Verifying did come back and finish second, and a good second in the Matt Wynn Stakes last weekend at Ellis Park. And now Kingsbarns, part of that pace collapse in the Derby that you can just ignore that race. And now he's got the outside post, and I think that they're going to try to be definitely more relaxed out here. His new rider, Luis Saez, who did ride him to victory in his career debut, is going to get back aboard. So they paid $800,000 for this son of Uncle Moe. Tappet is the damn sire. He showed a lot of promise in his first 3 races. We're still not sure quite how good he is. He did steal that Louisiana Derby, and then his Kentucky Derby, you can just draw a line through it because he got in that pace duel. So he's certainly probably going to be the horse to beat. I would expect that they're certainly not interested in any kind of speed duel with him this time. They're going to try to get him to relax, stalk the pace while out in the clear, and I can certainly see him winning this race. Now, I won't pick him on top. He's your 8-5 favorite. Wouldn't be surprised if he went lower in here. I'm going to go with his stablemate in here as my top choice, the 1 Classic Catch. As I said, picking up leading Monmouth Park rider Paco Lopez. He's got the inside post, and if you look at his other races, he ran well from inner posts in other dirt routes. His 1 1/8 maiden win, he broke from post 2 and he stalked, and he was able to win nicely. When he won that optional claiming race at Gulfstream Park in a 1 1/8, broke from the inside post, stalked the pace, never more than 3 lanes back. His maiden win, he was never more than a couple lanes back in the early going. And then in the Wilbur Moreau out in post 10, and then the Peter Pan last time, passive ride, outer post. Now I think from that inside post with Paco Lopez aboard, I think he's going to save all the ground and maybe get a better trip than his stablemate who's going to be stalking wide, and maybe he can get the job done from that inside post as a bit of a better price than his stablemate Kingsbarns. So that Classic Catch, my top choice in the Pegasus Stakes at Monmouth Park. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you like this content. And keep checking my YouTube channel. I'm going to have a lot of videos this summer, Saratoga Stakes races, Del Mar, and some other big races from around the country. So until I see you next time, good luck at the races.